Good morning, everybody. It is Motivated Entrepreneurs. It's episode 606. And today we are doing a book review day on something that I really, really thoroughly enjoyed. It's Howard Schultz's book. I hope I pronounced that right. And it's called Pour Your Heart Into It. It is a fantastic book. It's one of these books where I decided to read. I like autobiographies. It's one of the only books I could think of. Howard Schultz. Sorry. It's one of the only books that I could actually find of him actually contributing to it. Obviously, Harold is the owner of Starbucks, the CEO of Starbucks. And I don't think he's a CEO anymore. But yeah, he's the owner of Starbucks. He's the person who founded it, sort of. I'll get into that in a minute. But it was one of these books where I wanted to read it, but I thought, I'm going to read it on one of my journeys. I was going to look around for self-storage in the Northeast. And so I decided to read it. And I had to pull over in service stations because I had to take notes. I had to take notes on this unbelievable journey. It was absolutely incredible how he started, what he did, and what of a monster it actually came. And so Howard Schultz is absolutely incredible human being. I don't know if he's an incredible human being or not. He sounds like an incredible human being, but he's an awesome businessman. And I just loved every single minute of it. So I'm just going to read a few notes. So Howard Schultz wasn't the founder of Starbucks. Oh, didn't know that, did you? Well, you might have done. I didn't know that. He was a very good salesman, earning £70,000 a year, £75,000 a year. He saw Starbucks were ordering a lot of a certain item in terms of coffee maker. So he went to see them because he was a salesman and he thought it's a lot. There's similarities between him and how McDonald's started up as well. And so he saw basically that there was ordering a lot of this coffee maker. So he went to go and see them. I went to go and see what it was all about. He loved it. He went out with the owners for tea, understood their vision and wanted to be a part of it. The three founders, because there were three founders of Starbucks, Harold wasn't one of them. The three founders thought about, so basically Harold asked to be part of the company moving forward because he loved the vision. He wanted to leave his job, his salesman's job, and he wanted to travel across the country and set up life there working for Starbucks. At this time, Starbucks was only providing the coffee beans. They wasn't the coffee shop that we know right now. So they was providing the coffee beans to the coffee shops, if you like. And so he wanted to be a part of this overall vision. The three founders thought about it overnight and said no to Howard Schultz. Most would accept this and move on, but Harold didn't. He wasn't one of those people who accepted no for an answer. He rang the very next day, one of the founders, and he gave another great pitch about what he would bring to the party, to the business. 24 hours. The founder asked for 24 hours and said he'd think about it. 24 hours later, Harold was offered a job and equity partners, not necessarily partners in terms of 25%, but he was just given a little bit of equity. Just imagine, he said in the book, just imagine if I'd have accepted no. What would I be doing now? I wouldn't have created Starbucks. Starbucks wouldn't have been around. Starbucks wouldn't be what you know it is now. But he didn't accept no for an answer. He wanted to be a part of it. They said no. And then the very next day, he came back with another pitch and said, no, I know I'm good for you guys. I know you're good for me. I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of you. Another 24 hours, and he was given equity and a role in the company because he didn't accept no. That's a huge lesson to take away from this. His wife then moved 3,000 miles across the other end of America to be with him. Can you imagine that? It's unbelievable. Excuse me. It's unbelievable what she did for him, left all her friends and her family and went out there just because of his vision and his dream. Full respect for that lady. I actually came home afterwards and said, Claire, if I was a footballer and I had to go to Barcelona and we had two kids and they offered me, X amount of money, would you go with me? You said no. She said no. I was like, fucking Harold Schultz's wife did. Why wouldn't you go with me? And so basically, my wife wouldn't go with me. She said, no, you can come home, I don't know when I come home, but no, we'll be here for you when you come back. But no, I wouldn't go with you. I wouldn't uproot the kids. Fucking stupid, fucking Claire, fucking do. So anyway, Howard Schultz's wife went 3,000 miles an hour with him, and left all her family and friends. So my notes here went on to say that Harold later left the company because he had a different vision for the company. So they were still producing the coffee beans, etc. But Harold, he wanted to go into coffee shops. And Starbucks opened one coffee shop because Harold pushing. And it did amazing. It did fantastic. So Harold thought, hey, I've shown it works. I've shown that people are going to use us. I've shown the vision for the company, and I've played it out, and it works. But the other three founders wasn't really interested, because don't forget, life is all about motivations. Your motivations are going to be different than mine. Harold was one of these people who wanted to go to the very next level. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to go to the next level, but equally, there's nothing wrong with other people just wanting to stay where they are, staying in niche, making 100, 200, 300,000 pounds, whatever it is a year. If they're happy with that, if they're content, fuck me, brilliant. But I'm with Harold. I'm not content. I want to be nationwide with my self-storage facility. He wanted to be nationwide with his coffee shops. So then he opened his own coffee shop and he called it something Italian. I can't remember what it was called. And it did well. It did really, really well. And then he found out that Starbucks was for sale. The place, the people that he used to obviously got him into the coffee shop. He actually, and by the way, there's amazing stories in between. When he opened his own coffee shop, he took funding on. He had to go around to all these VCs and say, look, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. I want to open these number of shops. And Starbucks founders actually invested in Harold because they knew it'd work. And so they invested £150,000 in Harold, which was an incredible vote of confidence. He went around, excuse me, other places looking for investments, and he eventually got the investment he needed. And he opened maybe, I think it was 10 shops at this time. It was doing really, really well. And then he found out on the grapevine that Starbucks was going to be for sale. And at that point, he realized he just had to have it. He just had to have Starbucks. And because it made sense, because they was grounding the beans, and he was still buying the beans off Starbucks, but he was just selling it to customers. But they was only selling it business to business, B2B, where he was selling it B2C, business to consumer. And so he realized that the true money was not in B2B, it was in B2C. But he realized that if he could buy the company who was supplying B2B, then it would be better for him as a business, because he's buying that supply chain. Excuse me, I've had some protein and it's tickling my throat. So yeah, he bought them for £4 million, and basically he never looked back from that moment forward. And the rest of the book is all about the investments with Pepsi, because they had they broke a deal and worked on, I can't remember what it's called, some sort of drink, and it was incredibly successful. And he just talks about really candidly about the pros, the cons, and what happened in the business. I really, really enjoyed this book. I've mapped out the early parts of it, and then obviously what happened with Starbucks. It's gone worldwide. It's incredible. He talks about the time when he opened up in China and he didn't think it was going to work, and then it did work, and then it's a beautiful book. It really is a beautiful book, and I recommend anybody in business, I think you should go and read this book, because it is it's a cornerstone into our society right now, and our businesses as well. You don't go anywhere without seeing a Starbucks anymore. It is fundamental to business structure in the UK and America. And I really believe that listening to this and learning about it and seeing what Howard Schultz went through is just, it can only stand you in good stead. So for me, it's something that every single person should be listening to in terms of if you're in business, because you can always learn something from a great man like Harold. Just so many takeaways. So guys, girls, get the book. I'm going to read the title again. It is called Pour Your Heart Into It. I love it. Absolutely loved it. All right, my friends, love the title. Great stuff. All right. Thank you very much for listening. I'll speak to you tomorrow. See you soon. Bye.